Hi, my name is Reshma Suresh Babu. So today I will be taking a small session for Python for beginners. So in this session, we'll be covering the basic syntax of Python, the what is variables, what are different types of loops, how do we make conditional statements, and some starting basic programs, how to write a basic program in Python. So this is a small 15-minute session in which it is designed in a way that a beginner can easily understand what a Python programming language is. It is actually a beginner friendly session. Okay, to start with, what is Python? Python is a popular high-level interpreted programming language. It has a vast standard library and numerous modules and functions, so that makes it code easy to write, and also any number of any complex applications that we can make with minimal code. So that is the specialty of Python. Actually, it is a multi-purpose programming language. So if you ask me what are the uses of Python, we can say it is used for web development. You know, the most famous website like YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, Dropbox, all these are developed by using one of the popular framework of Python called Django. And also the Python is nowadays very popular in data science, because in artificial intelligence, machine learning, we use Python for coding, and it makes this program so easy to write and easy to understand, because it is like a simple in English. That means anybody who can read the code can understand what is being written inside the program. And also other uses, like it can be used for automation, desktop application, game development, scripting, and so on. So that makes this Python a unique and versatile programming language, and it's the number one in 2023. So it's always the best to learn, the best programming language. Okay, so before jumping into the session, we need to first install the Python. So always install the latest version of Python, and also we need a editor to edit and write the code. So here either you can use PyCharm, or from the Anaconda you can use Jupyter Notebook. Any editor we can use for writing this Python program. So this course content will be going on like, first I will be explaining what are variables, different kinds of variables, objects, class in Python, then the operators, now the conditional statements and loop, then the list and tuples, and finally some sample programs, how to write a sample program in Python. So this will be the flow of today's session. Okay, so coming to the variables. So rather than simply explaining, I will start writing with coding as so I'll write along so that it's easy to understand. Okay, so this is a Jupyter notebook interface. So here I'll be writing the Python program in Jupyter notebook. Normally in PyCharm, if you are writing the code in PyCharm, the Python file extension will be .py, but in Jupyter notebook the Python file extension is .ipny. So we have to create a new ipny file and then start writing the program. So first of all, just say hash. Hash means actually the comment in Python. So write a program is sample program. So that means it's just to understand what is being written here, and this code won't be displayed in our program. Okay, so I'm just writing a comment first to understand. Okay, now I'm going to write the first program. First program is just to print hello world. Okay, so print in brackets, in parentheses, in quotes, you have to write hello world. Okay, so that means print as a function in Python. Okay, so this is printing hello world. So actually this is an inbuilt function in Python, and it's always having a parenthesis. Inside the parenthesis, in double quotes or single quotes, we can write whatever we want to display. So if it is a text field or something string content, then we have to write in double quotes or single quotes. But if it's a numerical value, say example I'm just printing 1000, then you have to give it as such, so the 1000 will get printed. So for printing any text value, we have to either give single quotes or double quotes inside the parenthesis and write whatever you want to get displayed. Okay, sorry, world. Okay, so this is a basic first program that we usually write in almost all the programming languages. This is just printing hello world. Okay, coming to the variables in Python. Okay, variables. Now variables means actually it's a temporary storage location label. That's how I say variable. For example, I'm creating a variable called age and storing the value of age as 20. That means the value 20 is stored into a memory location, and that location is labeled using this name called age. So whenever we print this variable age, what happens is print age. So from that memory location label using age, the 20 will get printed. Value of that memory location will get printed. So that is called variables and how we are printing the value of variable. Okay, now if I am giving like age is equal to 30 in between, what will happen? Because this program is always executed from top to bottom. So in the first line I have already assigned age is equal to 20, and in the next line I assigned age is equal to 30 again. That means that memory location is overwritten by the new value. So then when we print age, so the second value will get automatically printed. That is because this program is always executed from the top to the bottom. Okay, and now you may ask, what are the other types of variables? Other types of variables are, obviously we have float values, like say 18.9. so this is actually a float variable. And also first underscore name. So there we can give any text value, so string value, say John. Always remember that when we are giving a variable name as string, it has to be enclosed in double quotes, because always the text values has to be inside this double quotes or single quotes. Also other variable is like online is underscore online is equal to true or false. This is called Boolean variable. Okay, Boolean variable. So here we have to keep in mind that Python is always case sensitive. Case sensitive means see here the Boolean values true or false. The T has to be capital letter and F has to be capital letter, otherwise it will create an error message. So the Python is case sensitive. So these are the different types of variables available in Python. It can be either an integer value or a floating point value or a Boolean value or a string value. So this is all about it is just a temporary storage where we store certain values in a memory location. And how do we fetch that memory location? By using the variable name. So that's all about variables in Python. Now my next thing is, how do we get an input from the user? See, if we want to read an input from the user, how do we get the input from the user? For that we have a function called input function. Similar to the print function, the Python has so many inbuilt functions. The other one is print function. Okay, print function. So input function. Input function means to read something from the user. For example, input in bracket I'm writing enter your name. So that means we are reading the name from the user. Okay, so but here what we need, enter your name. So what will happen is enter my name. I have to give the name as John, but nothing will happen because this variable is not saved into any variable. So the input value has to be stored into a variable called name, so that next time we can write a welcome message to that name. How we are going to do is print, I'll be writing welcome. Okay, now just concatenate the string name. Okay, now how I'm getting it is John, enter, welcome John. Oh, we need a space in between, so I'm just writing a space. Say again. Okay, welcome John. So this is called input function. So whatever we are getting from the user, that is by using an input function. So input enter your name means we are reading that input from the user, and here it is saved into a variable called name, and just printing the variable as welcome in double quotes. That means the welcome will be printed as such, plus name variable. Name variable means the value of this variable from that memory location will be printed there. That means the name variable has the value inputted by the user, so that will be printed here. And here we have used plus name. So what is this plus name means? That is called string concatenation function. String concatenation. That means here to the welcome string, another string called John is attached or concatenated. So this is actually a function of string where we are concatenating two values. So this is how normally we take input from the user. But while taking the input from the user, the next thing we have to keep in mind is that whenever we take an input from the user using input function, that is always in string format. So the next thing we're going to see is how do we convert the format. there are different types of data in Python. So how we are combine the string format or typecast the format of one variable to another variable. So that means to make it clear, I will explain you with a code, with an example program. See, I am asking a person to enter their date of birth. Okay, so birth underscore year is equal to, I'm just write input, enter birth year. Okay, so we received this input birth year into this variable called birth underscore year. Now I'm just calculating the age is equal to 2023 minus birth underscore year. So, and then printing that birth year age. Okay, so what will be the output of this code? This is obviously going to create an error. Can you guess how what will be the error in this code? So I'll show the error. See, this is the error. Basically, okay, sorry, here it's minus. Okay, see 1990 I just entered. Basically, this is the error. That means unsupported operand type, integer and string. So that means that here we have inputted the value birth year from the user, and then we calculate age as 2023 minus birth year. So here what happens is that we are trying to subtract a string value from an integer value, that is 2023 is an integer value. From that we are subtracting a birth year which is a string value. That means whatever we input from the user, whatever we are getting out of this input function is always string format in Python. So that means we have to always keep in mind that it is going to be string format. We cannot subtract an integer string value from an integer value. So here we have to typecast this birth year into integer format. Then only we can remove this error. For that we have a function called int. So inside, if we give this function int of birth year, that means this birth year is converted from string to integer format. So now we are printing the age. How the answer will be 33. So we get the answer as correct. So here that is string conversion or typecasting is done. And also the other thing I wanted to point out is that 1990.0, if I am giving a float value, again we are going to see an error, because here the string conversion is done into an integer value. But if I am entering a float value, then it has to be float. Okay, 1990.0, enter, then what happens is 33.0. okay, so that means whatever value we want, we have to always convert it or typecast the variable into whatever type we want. Okay, because we cannot always perform functions like integer minus string. That is not possible. Or a string plus integer is also, concatenation is also not possible. I'll show you what I am trying to say. So I'm just keeping it as an it as integer. And now here I am printing as your ages plus age. Again, so here again your age is plus age. I have concatenated your age string to this age variable, but you know that the age variable we converted into int format. So is it possible to concatenate a string to an integer? Is that possible? Just see how this code will run. See, only can only concatenate str, not integer to string. So that means here this concatenation is not possible. So how do we concatenate then? That means again here we have to convert this age variable into str format. So for string concatenation we have to convert it again. Mr. parenthesis 1990, enter. So your age is 33. We missed one space also. Okay, so age is 33. So this is how string concatenation. Only a string can be concatenated with another string. A string cannot be concatenated with an integer, and also from an integer only an integer can be subtracted. No string subtraction is not possible. So there comes the use of these functions like int. Then we have to convert it into a float, we can use float. to convert it into bool, we can use bool function. To convert to a string, we can use string function. So these are some of the typecast functions used in Python. Okay, hope you understand. Next, I am going to discuss about strings. Strings has some other important interesting functionalities. Okay, so string is actually an object which has so many other methods also available. For example, I'm just creating a variable, string variable, say course is equal to, I'm writing it as Python for beginners. Okay, this is that string variable. Okay, now if you want to see what are the methods associated or available for the string, then string dot, you click on the tab if you're using Python Jupyter Notebook, then we can see all the available methods. So these methods are, we can apply it to the string. Say I'm using dot upper. So what will happen is this string, the Python for beginners, is converted into uppercase characters. See, but the thing, beginners, I made a mistake. Okay, is converted into uppercase character. But the thing is that the original string is not affected. The original string is not affected. To prove that, I will print it out. Print course. See, the original string remains as such. The course dot upper, this string method has recreated a new string, Python for beginners. That means the string object in Python is immutable. Okay, that means we cannot change it, but we can recreate them. So there are different types of functions available. Like if you want to convert into lowercase, then string dot lower will convert this into lowercase. If you want to find some character from the string, then you can give find of, I'm giving E. So that means it returned 12. That means what it returned is, it returned the index of that alphabet E, the first occurrence of that alphabet E. See here, the Python, usually the indexing start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So this 13 is the index of this E. Since it's difficult to understand 13, I'm just giving Y. So see, okay, here Y. So Y means which index it is, 0, 1. So first index it's Y is occurring. So this is how we find the occurrence of that particular alphabet in a Python program. And then another function available is we can replace something. Select replace of, in bracket I am writing 4 is replaced with another 4. Okay, I just close this. What happened is Python for beginners is converted into Python for beginner. But again, if you print course, the course remains the same. The Python for beginner, the original string is not changed because it is immutable. The rest of this thing is changed. So there are so many methods available in string with which we can do different kinds of functionalities. So different capabilities are there for the string in Python. So it's very cool stuff that you can explore a lot of functionalities over here. So another cool stuff that I would like to show is, I'm just printing. We can check if any particular alphabet is available in the string or particular word is in the string. So for print 4 in course. So that means it's checking whether this 4 is present in this course variable. So this 4 is present in course, so it is returning the boolean value true. And if I am giving or is present in course, it's again returning true because or is already present there. But if I am giving something else like PR is present in course, it is not present. So this is how we find something is present in a string or not. Okay, so these are some of the string functionalities. And now we are going to discuss about the operators in Python. Operators. So there are different kinds of operators like arithmetic. So I'm going a bit fast forward. So I'll be showing off everything in this PPT. The objects we discussed, these are the operators. So different operators are plus, minus, divide, multiplication, division, double division. Double division means that's floor division. So if we divide 10 by 3, then we get 3.3333. So if a single division, that means we get value as a floating point. If double division means floor value, only the value just before the point will be displayed. That means we get only 3. Mode function means we get like the remainder of the division value. Then star star means what? Exponent value raised to the power. And then other operators are comparison operators like less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, not equal. And then another are logical operators, and, or, not. So these are basically useful when we deal with the loops and conditional statements. So we'll be discussing more about it later on. And then coming to the conditional statements, first is if statement. So in Python, the syntax for writing an if statement is if in bracket we write the expression, we write the condition. So for example, we are checking the temperature of a day, then I write, so just coming to the Jupyter notebook and show you, that's more easy to understand. So if, so I'm writing a first condition as if in bracket I'm just setting temperature is equal to 30. Okay, if TMP is greater than 30, if temperature greater than 30, then you have to put a colon, enter. That means here an indentation comes. So this is called a block of code, that is we are going to create under here. If temperature is greater than 30, then print hot day. Okay, oh no, okay. And then I'm just writing one more condition, if temperature is less than 20, okay, then print cold day. Okay, then I am again writing else print very cold day. Okay, so this, since it's executing normally, then the last statement is executed. Okay, so this is about if statement. So this is actually we are just checking a condition, and if that condition is true, corresponding block of code will be executed. If the condition is not true, the next block of code will be executed. So always remember that the condition has to end with a colon, and under that there has to be proper indentation, because with the help of this indentation only here with the help of indentation only we are able to see that certain block of code is being code is properly working, because in other programming languages this block of code is always separated using curly braces, and in Python block of code is always written inside a proper indentation. Okay, next we are going to discuss about list. So we already discussed all the types of data like int, float, string, boolean, etc. These are primitive data types. So next is list. List is actually a complex data type in Python. Okay, so next is list. So list means you can say number equal to, I'm giving a list as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is actually a list. So to explain it from here, it's okay, for loop. I will come to for loop. So list is actually a collection of elements which can be of different data types, can be integer, string, or even other list. So it's a group of elements of any kind of data, that is called list. The list is mutable data. That means any value inside the list we can change or modify according to our interest. Always the list is written inside the square brackets, and all the elements are in list is separated using comma. Also that means the first point is the list is heterogeneous. Heterogeneous means any type of element. It can be either a string or it can be a numeric value or any floating point value. Anything can be inside a list, or a list inside a list is also possible. The list can be indexed. Indexed in the sense a of 0 is equal to, see, span. That means we are taking the first element of list as using the index value. A of 0 means first element, A of -1 means the last element of the list. So that negative indexing is also possible in Python list. If A of -2, that means -1 means 2 into 2. -2 means what? The second last element. So that is called negative indexing in the list. And also the list can be sliced. Slice means if you want to take only particular value from the list, or from particular value to that another particular value, we can slice the list. How do we slice that? See, for example, A of colon 2. Colon 2 means all the values starting from the index 0 till the second index excluding 2, excluding the second value. That means index 0, index 1, that values will be fetched without index 2. That means we exclude the value of 2 and take all the elements starting from 0 to 2. See, if we want to fetch 100 and 1, 2, 3, 4, how do we fetch that? 100 is 0, 1, 2, second element, and this is third element. How do we fetch? That means A of 2 colon 4. That means we are getting the values from index 2 and 3 excluding 4. So that is how list in slicing means. So we can take a particular portion of the list or particular elements from the list by slicing it properly by giving the index value. And also the list can be manipulated. That means if you want to change the spam to span, we can give A of spam is equal to, we are just modifying it, A of 0 is span equal to span. Span means then we are just changing the value of this spam to span. And also if we want to make 100 to 150, we just write A of 2 equal to A of 2 plus 50. So just simply manipulating the values of the list is possible. And there are different methods associated with list. As I already discussed, with the strings have different methods like append, sort and all, upper, lower and all. The list is also having different methods like append, extend, pop, insert, remove. So while doing some activities or certain functionalities with the list, you can explore all these functionalities of list as well. Next is tuple. Tuple is actually ordered immutable sequence of elements, but this is immutable in the sense we cannot, once the tuple is created, we cannot change the elements inside the tuple. The tuple is always enclosed in parenthesis and it is separated with the comma. The only thing is that elements are all ordered and it is immutable. So the different methods associated in tuple are count and index. Okay, so I just explained about the list because we are going to explain the for loop for now. Because for loop means, why do we need for loop? So that is the question. So if you have to iterate over a particular list of number, or if you want to access items individually from a list of numbers, then basically what we use is we use a for loop to iterate over the number. So we can just see an example of for loop. So this is a list of numbers. So I'm just saying we are creating a for loop. Okay, so this is a list of numbers, and then I'm writing a loop as for item in number. Then I write a colon, then under the intended block write print number. That means this number get printed. Okay. Print item. So this number get printed. So that means this is a for loop. See here, the number is actually the list. We are creating a list of numbers into the variable number. For item in number, item is the iterating variable for the for loop. So this iterating variable is having initially the value as 1, the first element value in the list. In number is that list. For this iterating element will be incrementing in each iteration of the loop. So for when the value of item is 1, we are printing that item 1. Okay, and in the next loop, then the item value is incremented by 1. So the index position is incremented by 1. Now this item value is 2. Again we print the value 2, then 3. So that means this is how we iterate through the list. So for that we use for loop. So the output will be like this. So this for loop is basically used if we want to iterate over a list, then we basically use for loop. Okay, this is called the syntax of for loop. Always the for statement end with a with a colon, and next line will be having an indentation. That means a tab space. Also, I haven't explained how we are running this code in Python. So in Jupyter Notebook, just click Shift Enter to run the code, or either you can run it from here. Either way will work, okay? But in PyCharm also there is a run button by which you click on that, this line of code will be executed. So next is while. Then what is while? So I'm just going a bit faster because to cover everything in a single flow, I'm just explaining it quite a bit faster. Okay, so while means that if you want to repeat a block of code multiple times, we use while loop. So if I want to print number 1 to 10, then I have to write print 1, print 2, print 3, print 4, print 5 up to print 10. That is possible, but if you want to print a number from 1 to 10,000, is it possible to write 10,000 times a print statement? That's not possible. So for in that cases, we have to, if we want to repeat a code multiple times, then obviously we use while statement. So while statement, see, I'm going to write as while. Before I start this condition for the while, I'm just keeping the I value as 5. Then while, inside that we have to condition, right, I less than or equal to 5. Then end with a colon. Then it will be, sorry, the spelling mistake, while I less than or equal to 5, then I write print I. Then we have to increment the value of I plus equal to 1. I equal to I plus 1. Sorry, I's value is 1. Okay, this is how the for loop, while loops works. Okay, you see that I have assigned the value of I as 1, then I less than or equal to 5. Until I less than or equal to 5, this loop will work. So the initially the value of I is 1, the condition is true, then print the value of 1. Then again value of I is incremented, now is 2, 2 less than or equal to 5, condition true, then print 2, then again 3. So this is how this loop is working. But what happens if this I is incrementing step is not present? That means this loop will run infinitely until it utilizes all our memory locations. So always keep in mind that while using this while loop, we have to give a proper condition to exit the loop, otherwise this loop will run indefinitely. Always remember that while considering this for loop and while loop, we always opt for writing for loop in Python. If we have chose to write for loop, it is always best to go with the for loop, because for loop requires less number of lines of codes as compared to while loop in writing Python code. So that's all about the while loop, for loop, if statement, and all the variables, type conversions, then how do we write a program in Python. So this is just a introduction to Python and basic syntax, and the overall I show you some of the sample programs, how do we write programs, then what is list, tuples and all. So hope you understood my session. That's all. Thank you.